If you have $1,000 in your pocket right now and you're trying to figure out how you can flip your $1,000 into $30,000, something a whole lot bigger, and you go into YouTube and Google and you search how to do that, well, chances are you're going to come across one of a few things. You're going to see people talking about flipping cars. You go out and buy a beat up car, that way you can flip it for a profit. Or you can flip NFTs, trying to find an NFT that will be worth a whole lot more, hopefully in the near term future, or trying to flip cryptocurrencies, try to find a cryptocurrency right before it pops and sell it for a quick profit, or you're trying to find a stock that you can buy and sell very quickly, or you're trying to flip currencies on the Forex exchange, Forex. Now, while some of these things might work and they might work for some people, they don't work for me. Like, I don't go out and flip cars. I've never flipped cars before. I don't buy NFTs, and I don't buy cryptocurrency to flip it. I own cryptocurrency as an investment. I don't buy into the Forex markets, and when I buy stocks, I buy them for the long term as an investment. I don't flip them. But I've still been able to flip $1,000 into $30,000 or more without ever buying an NFT, and in this video, I'm going to be going over some of the ways that I did that. That way you can potentially implement them too. When I went to college, I didn't know what to expect. I grew up in a traditional Indian house, and I thought everybody goes to college to study hard and they spend their Friday evenings in the chemistry lab trying to figure out how they could become even more successful in life, because I thought everybody wanted to go into the medical field because I was supposed to be a doctor. That's what I was told when I was growing up. So I thought that everybody goes to college only to study. Well, when I got to college, I was a little surprised because everybody around me was partying and blowing their money, which they didn't even have. Everybody was drowning in student loans, yet they were still blowing money they didn't have on partying. I didn't know that people partied in college. I was the first person in my family to go to university in the United States, so I didn't know what to expect. I was never really into partying. I don't drink, I never drink, and the whole idea of just spending all night partying just wasn't super attractive to me, but I still needed something to do on Friday nights, so I saw it as an opportunity that maybe I could be the one hosting parties and making money if everybody else is partying. Now, I did get a little bit fortunate here because when I was in high school, I was already working at weddings. So I got to know a lot of the DJs, and we had this idea to host teen parties back when I was in high school. So I knew a little bit about how the party promotion business worked. I knew a little bit about how DJs worked, and I knew quite a few DJs. But this was my opportunity to now really capitalize on this college party business and scene. I was 17 when I got to college. I didn't have a lot of money in my bank account, but I started knocking on doors at every single bar, restaurant, club, and venue on campus, and I asked them a simple question: can I host a party here? And some venues would come back to me and say something like, sure, you can host a party here, but it's gonna cost you $10,000 to reserve the hall. And I was like, oh, well, I don't got $10,000, so that's not gonna work. Then I go to the next place and then they would say, yeah, you can host a party here. It's gonna cost you $30,000. So then I'd go to the next place and then they said, yeah, you can host a party here. We're not gonna charge you anything up front, but all we want is 50% of the cover charge, the money you charge for people to come into the event. So if I charge people $10 to come into the party and 100 people come in, that's $1,000 worth of revenue, and I would give the club 500 and then I would keep the other 500. As soon as I found somebody who'd be willing to give me, this 17-year-old confused brown college kid, access to their club and their hall for free, I knew I was in business. Now all I had to do was figure out how I can get as many people into this club on Friday night as possible, because the more people that come in, the more people that are gonna pay, and the more money that I would make. But I still needed a DJ. Let me just remind you, I'm a 17-year-old kid, so I don't have a lot of money to go out and find a DJ and pay them their full price to come out and DJ my party, so I had to get a little bit creative. So I got to know a few DJs working in the wedding business and started calling them up. And I asked them, how much do you want to DJ? Some of them would say, oh, I want $1,000. Someone would say, I want $750. And then somebody said, you know what? I'll do it for free. Let me be a partner with you in this party. I'll help bring my friends, I'll help promote it, but all I want is a percentage of the money that you make. Now the club is already taking 50% of my gross revenue, and now I'm gonna bring in a DJ who's also gonna take half of the profits that I make, so now 25% of the gross revenue, which only leaves me with 25% of every dollar that we bring in. But at least I don't have to put any money out of my pocket, because now I can start this business without pulling any money out of my pocket because I don't have any money in my pocket. So now I have a venue where I can host my event. I have the music, I have the entertainment. The only thing left is I gotta get people to hear about my party, and I gotta get people to actually want to come to the party, because if no one comes to the party, well, nobody makes money. I spent $100 hiring a designer to design me a flyer to promote the party, and then I spent another $250 to print 5,000 physical flyers, 4 inches by 6 inches, so almost like a photograph, but there were just these flyers promoting the party, and I got 5,000 of them, and now my goal was to get rid of and distribute all 5,000 flyers before the party starts. The first time I did one of these parties, I was able to flip my $350 investment into $30,000. I'm just kidding. My first party was a complete flop. The studio, the hall, the club that I was doing my party at got shut down the night before. So the night before the party, I had to find a new venue. It was a complete mess. I ended up losing money on the first event, and then we did it again the next month. And the next month, we made a couple $1,000s of profit. That was me. I made a couple $1,000s worth of profit even after paying all of these fees and expenses, because we were able to be creative with our marketing. We were able to get a lot of people to come. We were able to generate a lot of excitement, and I didn't have a lot of costs up front. I would market it with the flyers, and I would do a lot of Facebook marketing and a lot of word of mouth marketing. I would get people excited. We would tell people that we would celebrate their birthdays at our event. We'd give the birthday person free access into the party. That way they would want to come celebrate and bring all of their friends. And so we'd get a lot of different people to kind of word of mouth market the event by themselves, and this is how I started. After doing the same process a handful of times and making a couple $1,000s here, $1,000 there, $1,500 there, I was able to save up a little bit of money, and then I realized, okay, now I got some leverage. I know that I'm able to run these events smoothly. I know the people. I know that I have the contacts. So I went back to the clubs and I would say, I don't want to give you 50% anymore. Let me do it where I get 60% or 75%. So I was able to negotiate a higher rate for myself. And then I went back to the DJs and I said, I don't want to keep giving you half of the money I make. Can we work out a different deal, or can I just pay you $500 up front? That way now I pay a little bit more money up front, but now I get to make more profit per event. And then I started doing more events. I got in contract with one of the biggest clubs on campus to be their college night promoter. So my face and my party poster was plastered on the side of the building, and every Thursday night, every college night, it was my party. It took me almost a couple of years to make my first $30,000 doing this, but now I was making more money each semester because, one, I was able to negotiate better rates for myself, better deals for myself, because now I had some more money to invest back into the business, and I'm able to market better, so we're able to bring more people in, and we're able to charge more cover because people really want to come to our events. So it was like a punch, a triple punch. And that was when the revenue really started to accelerate, because in the beginning, when I started with just a few $100s, less than $1,000, I was just doing the bare minimum, just trying to get a hall, trying to get somebody to play some music, and trying to get people into the event. By the end of my junior year, my third year, now it wasn't just hiring a DJ and having a hall. We had a DJ, the hall, we had hired multiple limos, we had hired school buses, we had VIP service, we had so many different things going on. That way now it's more of a whole production rather than just event. And I still remember this because my biggest event generated more than $16,000, and I couldn't believe it. I did not realize that I could be making this type of money without even finishing college. Now, before I go into the second way that you can flip $1,000 into $30,000, I want to reiterate that it took time, it took a lot of effort, a lot of hard work, and a lot of consistent learning. You have to be willing to do that if you want to flip $1,000 into anything more than $1,000. The second way that you can flip $1,000 into $30,000 is by flipping real estate. And now if you're thinking, how in the world am I gonna buy a real estate property for $1,000? Well, you wanna flip real estate without actually buying the real estate. So when I started making decent money from my event planning business, I wanted to go out and buy myself the BMW 3 Series because I loved BMWs and I loved the 3 Series, and I thought it'd be really fitting for me. And I looked at the pricing and I was getting ready to buy it, but then for whatever reason, I decided not to buy the BMW 3 Series. This was at the bottom of the real estate crash. I kept hearing about the real estate market being at rock bottom on the news. I was reading money books, and every money book said that wealthy people invested in real estate. So I decided not to go out and buy this BMW 3 Series, and instead I went out and bought my first rental property. I was in college, and I bought my first rental property, and that got me really hooked on real estate. So right after that, I went out and I got my real estate salesperson's license. And I got my real estate salesperson's license when I was 19 or 20, and I started working for a brokerage called Keller Williams. And the broker that I was working for happened to be this teacher for some sort of real estate investing. And as soon as I started working there, she got really interested because I was the youngest agent in the office. And so she was wondering what got me into real estate. I told her that I liked real estate investing, and she said, wow, I'm actually a real estate teacher on the investing side. How about you come to one of my seminars? She was charging something like $350 a person to go to one of her seminars, but she gave me a ticket for free because I was an agent in her office. So now I got a free ticket to one of her real estate seminars, and I go there and I learned about this concept of flipping real estate contracts. It's called real estate wholesaling. So I go to the conference, and the speakers are talking about how you can go into a contract. Let's say this home right here is worth $150,000. So now what you want to do is you want to find a home like this that's worth $150,000, but you want to find it where there is a motivated seller. Maybe the homeowner here has been trying to sell their home. They don't want to go through an agent, and they've been trying to sell their home, but they haven't been able to do it for whatever reason. And so now you have to find this person, and if you can enter into a contract to buy the home for $135,000, well, now you have the opportunity to make some money. So what you do is you go to the homeowner and you talk to them, you figure out if they want to sell their home, and then you tell them that you want to buy the home for $135,000. And so now you have this contract to buy the home for $135,000. Now at this point you're probably thinking, but if I only have $1,000, how am I going to buy a $135,000 home? Well, you're only in contract to buy the home for $135,000. Now what you want to do, because you're a good marketer or you want to learn how to market this, is you want to find somebody else, a buyer, who is interested in buying this home, and then you're going to give this person a little bit of a discount off of the value of the home. Let's say they buy the home for $145,000. So now what you've done is you entered into a contract to buy this $150,000 home for $135,000. Now you're going to turn around and market this contract. You're going to market this home actually for $145,000. And as you start to build your network of people, it becomes a whole lot easier because you know who wants to buy a home. A lot of times these are investors, because these are people that want to find homes below market value. So if you have an investor that's ready to buy a home and they can get a home below market value, now you're going to sell them this contract for $145,000. So now what happens? This person pays $145,000. They go to the homeowner and give them $135,000, and the other $10,000 goes to you for finding the deal and putting together the deal. You just flip the property without having to pay a penny, because now all you did was you got into a contract to buy the home, and then you sold the contract to somebody else. So I learned about this and I got really intrigued. And then they said if you want to learn more, you can buy the entire program. It was a course that they were selling for $3,500. Now I know $3,500 is more than the $1,000 that we're talking about, but this is actually what happened. Now $3,500 is a lot of money, and back then it was even more money for me because I didn't have that much money. I mean, I had some success with my party promotion business. I had some success in real estate, but it's still a lot of money. But I decided to go forward with it. I paid them the $3,500. I learned how it worked, and then I started trying to do this. So now I'm on my own, and I'm trying to source leads to try to enter into this contract. And I'm going through Craigslist. I'm calling people. I'm driving through roads. I'm driving through streets, driving through neighborhoods, trying to find homes that are available for sale. And I'm trying to get into a contract to buy one of these homes. And month 1, 0 sales. Month 2, 0 sales. Month 3, 0 sales. Month 4, 0 sales. It wasn't until month 5 that I made my first sale, and in month 5 I closed 2 deals. The first deal I closed net me $10,000. The second deal I closed that same month put another $7,500 into my pocket. The cost here that I had to pay for was a $3,500 class that I paid for, but then it was all the time that I put in. I mean, I put in a lot of hours calling people, getting rejected, getting hung up on, and doing that again and again and again and again and again until ultimately month 5, I closed my first deal and my second deal, and then by month 6, I had closed $30,000 worth of total transactions, money coming into my pocket from doing this, and my costs of actually doing the business were very low. I mean, I ended up making a website which wasn't very expensive, maybe cost me a couple $100, and then I put together some marketing material, which again, a few $100s worth of work, but that was it. You don't have to go out and buy a $3,500 class just to start off, but you should be investing in yourself. That means investing in your education, maybe buying classes, maybe watching YouTube videos, maybe reading books. There's a lot of things that you can do to increase your income if you just invest in your own education, whether it's dollars or whether it's time, but you have to learn how you can do this, and that means learning things like negotiating, learning things like the follow-up, learning sales. The education and the things that you learn from doing business can be applied universally for whatever you do. A third thing that I did was I used to flip t-shirts. Now this is a concept that you can apply to pretty much anything where you find a need where people are overpaying for a product and you can find the exact same product for a cheaper price and you can sell this to that person who's paying a lot more money at a discounted price. This concept can be applied to anything, but what I used to do was when I was in college, every club, organization, and group on campus would want to get their own custom shirts. They would say things like Squirrel Watching Club, and then they would go to the local t-shirt making company and they would ask them how much would it cost to make the Squirrel Watching Club t-shirts. Well, the t-shirt company on campus would rip them off, and that was opportunity for me. So you wanted to make Squirrel Watching Club t-shirts, and then your organization would go to the big t-shirt making store on campus and they would say, yeah, we can make you these shirts. It's gonna cost you $7.50. But if you did any sort of research, if you spent any time online, you found out that, hey, I can go online and I can get the exact same shirts made, sorry, my arrows are all screwed up, for $5.50 from an online company. I saw that and I said, well, this is a lot of opportunity, because now what I can do is I can go to every organization on campus and say, hey, you want to get squirrel making shirts? I'm a student here. Let me help you out with that. Instead of you paying $7.50, we will beat them by $1 or at least $1. So now what I do is I found out that I can get it made for $5.50 and I say, you know what? I'll make it for you for $6.50. So you send me the design, you send me the order, I take this order and I go online and I input it and I get it made for $5.50 and I bill you $6.50. So now I'm making $1 per t-shirt. You buy 250 t-shirts, I just made $250, and all I had to do was take your order, take your design, and boop, 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 put it onto the internet. When I was in college, this was one of the simplest ways to start generating some extra money because I really didn't have to do much work. I just had to contact the organizations. I went to the directory online and found all the clubs out there and I started emailing every single one. And all I had to do was take the design that you created and input it online, and you were the one that was paying for it. I didn't have to put up any upfront money. Now, depending on where you live and what's around you, you might not be able to do the exact same thing with t-shirts, but you have the exact same opportunity with so many other things. Maybe you can find accessories that people are buying from the store and they're paying way too much for it, and you can source these accessories from China. Go to Alibaba.com, go to AliExpress.com, and you can work directly with manufacturers to buy products, and you can sell them directly to people in your area. Or like my friend Ryan Pineda says, if you want to flip things, you can start by flipping things like couches, because he was able to start flipping couches that he found on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and he grew that business by himself to making $8,000 a month just flipping couches. He didn't have a lot of money when he was getting started, but he was able to reinvest the profits again and again and again to scale his small investment, less than $1,000, into something a whole lot bigger. Just take a look.
You went from going zero to like $8,000 a month or something in couch flipping as a side hustle.
As a side hustle, dude. You know, it was funny. I just got married. My wife and I were broke. We didn't have a lot of money. We got married young. She just turned 21. I was 24. And I'm sitting there looking at my apartment we just furnished, and I furnished it all with used furniture. And I'm like, dude, I've just bought a bed, a couch, a table, everything for less than $1,000. And I'm like, I bet you I could sell all this for way more than what I paid. And so I said, I'm just gonna like take a shot. So I bought a couch, threw it in my living room apartment that just didn't even have space. But I was like, babe, I'm just gonna try something. Just bear with me. You know, ended up selling that couch and making a profit. I was like, dang, like this is a real thing.
What did you buy it for and what did you sell it for? Do you remember?
You know, that first couch wasn't a ton. It was like a test, just 3, seater type couch. And I think I bought it for like $20 and sold it for like $150. Wow. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then eventually it just started to be like, oh, I realized sectionals pay the best. I realized that if you had the couch and love seat, people would pay a lot more versus just like a standard, just small couch. That's like the worst couch you can buy.
Wow. So like, how did you do that though? So like how does somebody flip couches and make money?
Well, the way I did it back then was I bought a truck. I paid $1,500 on Craigslist. And I actually got scammed on that truck. He told me it had 99,000 miles on it. And I looked at the odometer and it looked like it did. But after I drove it, I looked and I saw there was like an extra number that was hidden.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I looked and then I saw there was a 1. And I go, this thing's got 199,000.
Oh my God.
But nonetheless, it served its purpose. I was picking up couches in that truck and I was originally storing them in our apartment. Well, after I bought a couple, we were done. And so she was like, hey, if you're going to keep doing this, you need to go figure out where you're going to store this stuff. So I went in, rented a storage unit at the closest storage place.
How much did that cost you?
It was probably like $150 back then.
Wow.
And I got a month, and I got a 10 by 30. And so the good thing was, it's not like I was dragging couches around a storage unit. Like it was a pull up right there. The garage opens, you dump the couch in there and you're done. So I did that, and I just filled my first storage unit with a few couches.
Where did you buy them from?
Everything back then was from Craigslist, because back then there was no Facebook Marketplace. OfferUp was pretty new. Let Go in these places were all coming on the scene.
The key for any of these to work is you have to stay consistent, you have to keep hustling, and you have to keep learning. You have to have the right mindset, and if you have the right mindset, the hustle, and you keep willing to learn, then nothing can stop you. What's up, everybody? If you want to continue building your financial education, I linked a relevant video here that I think you'll love, and as an added bonus, I have a free guide on how you can start generating passive income that you can download and read for free. All you gotta do is click that button below.
I was young, and I was like, dude, I don't have a lot of money right now. Like, what do I have to lose by taking a chance?
Yeah.